Oh, hey, Jerry.
Hey.
Hi, Jerry. Thank you for joining. Jerry, please meet Michael. Michael, please meet Jerry. Jerry is one of the day two
Hello,
partners.
Jerry.
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for your supportive comments on LinkedIn. I saw it.
And Jerry and I actually met at CES last year.
Oh, really?
Well, we didn't actually
Awesome.
meet
We
meet.
didn't meet at CES. We were introduced through via CES.
That's right. Someone that I met at CES said you need to talk to Jerry. So, and it turns out that Jerry and I actually live quite close to each other
In
When she's
Taipei or in LA?
here.
in LA.
LA.
In LA.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for joining.
Oh, hi there.
Hi, Cheryl.
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl, tell us about yourself. How did you hear about this webinar?
I just thought on LinkedIn, I thought it was a really interesting idea to prepare people for the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Are you a founder headed to CES?
No.
No. Okay. And so what attracted you to listening about communications at CES?
Well, again, I'm interested to see what type of information you're sharing to prepare people.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Cheryl.
And
Yeah.
and and as you'll see, this our timely hook, as we say in journalism, the timely hook is CES. But you'll see that the skills and strategies we're sharing are timeless, are evergreen. So I appreciate anyone who wants to tune in and either learn new skills or sharpen ongoing skills and strategies.
All right. And Peter, thank you for joining. Peter, are you joining from Taiwan by any chance?
Hi, hello guys. Yes, I'm from Taiwan. I'm joining from Taiwan, and it's our pleasure to actually it's me and my teams is going to join this webinar, and it's our pleasure to have the opportunity to share and to listen. Definitely some of the great ideas from you guys because we are going to the CS for the second time and this year. So I definitely believe that your expertise can help us to do the preparation or do all kind of like stuff that we want to greet or want to get from our potential clients. So much
What?
appreciated for the opportunities.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter. I
Okay.
I, I miss Taiwan a lot. 我也是台湾人，
OK，你好，你好。
非常想念台湾. But thank you for joining. You said you were at CES last year.
Yes, we were at CS last year. We are the I'm with the micro IP. We are the semiconductor IC design company from Taiwan. So we were definitely coming to CS, but the reason is we more focused on AI. So that's the reason why we think that is a great opportunity for us to be able to get more clients. So that's
Wonderful.
the main purpose.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter. I'd be happy to talk to you more after the call as well.
Um,
Okay, no problem. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
also we'll start soon, but in the meantime, it'd be great if you all were to enter into the chat who you are, with whom you are, and where you're calling in from, where you're listening in from, that sort of thing.
Well, and I see Ramos is on. Thank you so much, Ramos.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Michael. Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
Well, hello, hello.
Great to see you. Well,
Yeah, good
hear
to see
you.
you as well.
Hi.
Yeah, just repost the thing on my page. So I'm
Thank
still
you.
early, but so I'm not sure is how helpful this is gonna be, but yeah, hopefully it
No, no,
helps.
no. Anything helps. Really grateful for you. And we should definitely catch up when I come back to Taiwan.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to catch up with you.
Awesome. Awesome.
How about Jenny? How about we give it one more minute, 8:05, and let a couple other folks join. They're
Sure.
trickling in,
Sure.
and then we
And
can start. The show must go on.
Vivian is on. Hi, Vivian.
Hi.
Wonderful to see you, Vivian.
Yeah, great to see you guys.
Thank you for
Hi.
joining. Thank you.
You guys are in San Francisco?
I am in LA
Okay.
And
and
I'm normally in New York, but now visiting Montreal. S-
Cool.
Snowy Montreal.
It must be cold, right?
It's been snowing for 24 hours. It's
Oh
cold out
God.
there. Yeah. So cold it'll
Eh,
make your forehead hurts when you walk
Oh
outside.
my God.
Very painful out there.
yes.
So what's with the meeting? I mean, what's the story behind the meeting? Like, why
In
do you want to do this? Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Michael, take away and
well, yeah, I mean, let's kick it off. It's now 8:05 and we'll explain. Jenny, would you like to begin then?
sure, sure. And
Oh.
I want to say hello to Ivy. Ivy's joining us from Beijing, correct?
Hello, hi Jenny. Yes, I am. Yes, very
Hi.
excited for this.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to
Yeah,
finally meet you online.
yeah, feels the same.
Okay, wonderful. Well, yes, with no further ado, let's kick off this webinar. We don't have that many people, but we do hope that there'll be more people joining us afterwards. And no worries if anyone misses, because we will repost this maybe a few days later. So anyone who wants to know more about effective communications, they're more than welcome to tune in later. So, to start with, my name is Jenny, and I am the head creator of Day 2 Studio. We are a advisory firm based in Taiwan. We are committed to helping founders to sharpen their communication skills. We have a high performance coach. We also have a go-to-market strategist. So, we are able to provide you with a comprehensive service for anyone who's looking to expand and scale up. Today with me is Michael. Michael, I'll give a few minutes for Michael to introduce himself. And we're both ex-reporters. I used to work for the Wall Street Journal in Taiwan as well in Hong Kong. And after my journalism career, I hopped over to the dark side, as they like to say. I went over to the PR side, and I had the privilege and honor to work for Alibaba at the headquarters. And so, with that, let me kick the time over to Michael to tell you guys a little bit about himself.
Oh, well, hello everyone. Neiman Hao. Yeah, my name's Michael Jordan. No, not that Michael Jordan. Sorry to disappoint. My background, as Jenny said, is as actually a foreign correspondent, a freelance foreign correspondent. Back in the day, I've reported from 30 different countries, mostly in post-communist Central and Eastern Europe, then in Central Asia, Southern Africa, and then living in China. So I've been fortunate enough to have lived on four continents, from Europe to Africa to Asia and China. I also branched into education as a visiting professor of international journalism, having taught at universities in Hong Kong, Beijing, and Shanghai. But also while living in Southern Africa, I I applied because of the HIV crisis that I experienced, that I saw in the tiny mountain kingdom of Lesotho, down south. I then applied all my international and journalism skills, strategies, and storytelling to the challenges of global communication. Specifically, then it was health and HIV communications. But once I moved to Beijing for 5 years, then I expanded it to global communications for everyone from Chinese tech companies to African nonprofits. Also, I focus on fashion designers, fashion sustainability, and storytelling in New York. And sorry, a little distraction there. But in terms of China specifically, I am very pleased to help build a bridge between China and the international community, between Chinese companies and their skeptical international audiences, to explain how to overcome one of the greatest challenges that all companies nowadays face, which is trust, the global trust crisis, and people not believing what they read, what they see, what they hear, understandably. But we'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Please, Jenny, what did you want to
All
continue with?
right. Thank you very much. So, with no further ado, we'll go ahead and start. And just to let you all know, this is a casual conversation. It's not meant to be a lecture. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, feel free to share with us. The only thing is, we ask you to save your question till the end, and we'll be happy to have a very robust and very vibrant conversation afterwards. So, let me share my screen really quick and make sure that y'all can see it. Ooh.
Or also you can enter your question into the chat so we don't lose track of them, okay?
Okay. All right. Can everybody see what I'm sharing? Okay. Michael, are you able to see it? Most
Yes,
people.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
great. Thank.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So a little bit about why CES. Michael and I have both been to CES, and I want to tell you a little story about what happened last year when I went. I remember I was real excited to go, and full of enthusiasm. And I walked the halls, thousands and thousands of people. I have to tell you, even though I'm a communicator, I'm actually quite shy. And so for me to be with thousands of people, it's quite nerve-wracking. But I still went. And I remember I saw this founder who was just sitting by his booth, actually looking a little bit bored. And, he had all the decks ready. He had his product ready to display. He had the brochures, the backdrop looked great, but he just kind of sat there and waited for people to talk to him. And meanwhile, just a few booths down, there was another founder just having a completely different experience. He was talking to people left and right. There were people around him wanting to talk to him. The difference is that the second founder was very proactive and he was happy to get out of his comfort zone, to reach out and have that intentional and have that conversation even with strangers. And so when Michael and I start talking about what to do with storytelling and how we could help, we specifically picked CES because I'm sure there are going to be people like me, the introvert that will go to CS, but you'll be quote unquote forced to talk to people, and there'll be other people who are just natural storytellers. So we thought we'd craft this message, this webinar for both type of people. And to start with, oh, it's not. Okay, so I want to start with just storytelling 101. What is storytelling? The four C's in storytelling is clarity, consistency, concise, and connection. When it comes to communication or when we come to storytelling, it is all about being able to evoke the right emotion so you can elicit the outcome or action that you want. It's about building that relationship. It's about gaining that trust. When you don't have clarity, you have confusion. When you don't have consistency, you lose credibility. When it's not concise, people lose interest. And if you're not making that connection, then you're not being authentic and people don't want to listen. So if there's a message that you could take away from this, the communication part, the important part about communication is that sincere, authentic desire to make connection. I have two people that I admire, and one of them is actually my all-time celebrity crush, which is Scott Galloway. But I want to start with Steve Jobs, who is just probably one of the best salesmen of our times. His quote, which I love, he said, "The most powerful person in the room is storyteller." He's not saying it's the coder. He didn't say it's the software engineer. It's not the HR who determines who gets promoted. It's not the CFO who holds the purse. It's the storyteller. Because if you're able to tell a good story, you're able to evoke emotions, you're able to elicit desired actions, and you're able to set the direction. And I have Scott Galloway on the right. I would like to play a short clip of what he says about storytelling.
The greatest skill you can develop or that you would want your kids to have that will stand the test of time is storytelling. The ability to craft a narrative and then convince people, get people engaged in your narrative and think, oh, your company makes sense. You're not going to come in and say, I'm starting a software company. You're going to say, this is the technology, this is the marketplace, this is why society needs this. These are our unique skill set, and you can craft it into a story that is compelling, right? It's the key. It's the key to scoring above your weight class romantically, right? Communicating a plan, communicating kindness, communicating empathy, communicating humor. When you listen to Jensen Huang talk about the future of AI and biology and healthcare, you're like, well, maybe I should buy it, even though it's trading at 110 times earnings. The core competence of any really successful person, or the core competence that's going to get you real influence and economic security, is storytelling.
If may I add one thing, Jenny, which
Sure.
is just a clarifier for our audience, that some of you may think storytelling, that sounds kind of simplistic or like fairy tales. But how I describe it is strategic storytelling, storytelling for a purpose. And so I look forward to sharing some of those skills as far as identifying a core message supported by credible evidence. That's what they're referring to, is to think through strategically what story makes sense to achieve your objective in that situation. But please continue, Jenny.
Thank you. Okay, quickly to review, communications or storytelling, it has one job and one goal, and that is to elicit the desired action from your listener. It could be you want to get a promotion, so you need to get a approval from your boss. It could be you want to go to Hawaii for a family vacation and you need a consensus from your family. It could be getting your kid to pick up the toys. Communication has one job, and that is to get the desired action. Okay, so if we want to frame that around CES, what are some of the desired actions that you want from the people you'll meet from there? One, from the investors, you want them to say, let's schedule a call after CES, or sure, let's have a pitch meeting next month. From the buyers or the potential investors, you want them to say, show me what your product does. Tell me more. Or give me an example. Give me a trial run. I'm happy to give it a try. You might even meet potential partners and potential talents that would say, yeah, I'd like to know more about company. Maybe you're a team that I would like to join. And Michael, as we were talking about this
Yeah.
earlier, Michael have mentioned that a fourth type of people that you'll meet that you for sure would like to elicit some desire to action from them.
Are journalists, the media. And for those of you who haven't been there, you'll soon recognize that all these different categories also have their own color badges. And so the media will have their own color badges. And so that's also a unique skill as to how to attract and persuade journalists to cover, to publicize your brand, your product. And in fact, the two times that I've been to CES the past 2 years, I'll return in a few weeks, is to conduct media relations on behalf of a Chinese laser tech company. So I'll talk a bit more about that. But that is definitely a fourth category you'll see milling about at the show.
Okay. All right. So let's get into the weed a little bit about communications. Communication, it's not just telling people what you want to say, it is about absorbing. It's about being able to digest what they want to say, suss it out, what's their desire, what's their need, and how you can help them with that. So you have your output, you say what you want to say. And then you have your input as you hear what they want to hear. You hear what they want to say. Make sure that you practice active listening, and we will talk about it more later. When you're able to really exercise active listening, then you can make a mental adjustment in your head and be able to pivot or rephrase what you want to reply to them. So you could get that desired action, and then it goes in a loop. Now, when you go to CES and the people that you meet, I want you to think of them not just as potential clients, potential investors, or potential talents that you want to work with. They should all be your potential ambassadors, which mean it. Which what I mean by that is if you do your job well by telling them a clear, relatable, and repeatable story, Then after that week or after January, they're able to go back to their team and said, wow, I met Peter and his team at CES, and this is what their technology is about. And he's able to do it correctly. Wow, I saw Ramos and I just, what they're doing is just amazing. This is something that we could really use for our company. And again, if you're able to see them as your ambassadors, then they will be able to tell your story even when you're not there. So let's quickly go over the framework of of a story. Michael later on will go into more details about strategic, but I just want to quickly go over the six ingredients that you'll need in the story. One, you need to have a hero. The hero is not you. The hero is not your team. The hero is the people that you want to help. So it could be the AI company that if you're an AI company, it could be a logistic company that you want to work, that you want to sell your software to. The second thing is, what is the problem? You need to be able to identify the challenge that they're facing. Three, you present yourself as the guide. You're not there to overshadow them. You're there to support them. You're the helper. You're the one with the answers. And after that, you need to be able to present a concise, workable plan that they can use to overcome that challenge that they're facing. And then talk about what will be the impact of using your plan. At the same time, you could also talk about what would be the cost of inaction. What happens if they don't implement your plan? And then lastly, give them a call to action. Let's meet next week. Let's exchange line. Let's have coffee. So here are, again, the six ingredients of a story. Hero, that's you. What is the problem that they're facing? Present yourself as the guide, the person who's there to support them. Give them a plan. Discuss the impact of the plan as well as the impact of inaction, and then give a call to action. Invite them. What's the desired action that you want to elicit from them?
Just to add one point, Jenny, here. I agree with you completely. I also call these impact stories, just for the audience to appreciate that, especially in a brief way, you could tell the story of your product and your product's impact by describing a client where you say, for example, we have a client or had a client who was facing challenge XYZ. They didn't know how to overcome that challenge and it was hurting them in ways ABC. But then with our product, with our service, we did step by step. You could describe first we did this, then we did that, then we did the other thing. And gradually we were able to enable them to overcome their challenge and to succeed, to not just survive, to thrive, to profit, that sort of thing. So then you can basically, it's the before and after. Before you engage with that client, and then the results, the impact afterward. So that could be done within a handful of sentences, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sentences, 1 minute to bring to life your product, your services impact in a very colorful, illuminating, even humanizing way.
Hey, great. Thank you. All right. Now, so far we have talked about many different ideas, and the one pivotal idea, whether it be your introduction, whether it be your elevator pitch, the point is to make it easy. Easy, simple, easy to absorb. And why easy? Because our human brains, we are attracted to something that's easy. When there's chaos, we tend to back away. When it's something easy, we lean in. We reward simplicity because it means that we don't have to expend so much energy to understand something and to act on something. So please, when you do your pitch, Make sure it's easy to understand. No jargon, no big words. Just because you know AI so well, just because you know what vibe coding is, doesn't mean everybody knows. When I was a reporter for the journal, I remember one key thing that my editor repeated over and over again is whenever we have an article, we need to make sure that it's something even my grandma will understand. The meat stays the same, but there are ways to present the meat that it's easy to digest. Secondly, easy to believe you. And what that means is you are there to present correct data and the correct interpretation of the data. Michael likes to say evidence-driven communications. If you're able to provide correct data and the correct interpretation, your credibility goes way up. If if not, then you might come off as marketer and not a credible founder that who really knows what he's talking about.
Basically,
Easy.
basically, sorry to interrupt, you're free to say anything that you want, but you better back it up with some facts, with some evidence, if you hope to be believed. Okay? So concrete, specific, credible, believable evidence, even verifiable evidence, if you hope to be believed by a
One,
skeptical audience.
having met hundreds of founders, one thing that many founders like to say is, quote, "We are the only one that could do XYZ." Well, are you sure you're the only one who could do XYZ? Do you have evidence that you are the only one? Or sometimes I would hear, "We're the first one to do XYZ." Well, the world is a pretty big place. So before you're able to make that claim, make sure that you can back up that claim. A lot of times, investors, journalists, often when they hear hyperbole like this, they will actually step back a little bit and question you. So, again, if you're the world's only person or the only company that could do it, or you're the first one to do it, congratulations. Say it with pride, but make sure you say it with evidence. Okay, the third thing about making easy is making easy to relate. Uh, I often tell my clients to use simple metaphors and analogies. You could say our software is like Google Map, and so it guides you to the right place. Something metaphor, something that's easy for them to relate, so they can easily repeat and be the ambassador that you want them to be after CES. Now, a lot of us, we're not professional speakers, and there are times when we're unsure, and we're not always confident, and when we speak, that lack of confidence often exudes. That's just human, and I totally get it. I can fully empathize with that. In fact, right now, I'm quite nervous, in case you can tell, and I'm doing my very best to present to you a confident Jenny. However, I want to say I get it. People sometimes get nervous, especially when you go to a big event like that. However, if you're able to be mindful of some of these sentences or phrases that we use when we're nervous, then you will come off looking more credible and more confident. And a couple of things, for example, would be to start the conversation with, this might be a stupid idea or a stupid question, but. Okay, another one would be, well, I could be wrong here, but uh, some founders I have met will start with, we're just a small startup. Again, whatever energy you give out, it will be reciprocated. If you're thinking that you're small and you're telling people that you're small, then as an investor, why should I invest something that's small? So feel free to take a screenshot of this screen and maybe try to avoid, not try, definitely avoid these 8 phrases.
May I add just one thing, Jenny? Let me quickly add two things. First of all, for those of you who have never been to CES before, just know it's going to be quite overwhelming and exhausting. Okay, 4 intensive days meeting lots of people. And if you've never been there, Just know this is a lot that Jenny's giving you that we're going to give you. Don't worry about trying to remember or memorize all these points, okay? But just know that, oh, did I freeze? Looks like I froze up above. No.
A little.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Just know, do your best, experiment, see what works and why, what doesn't work and why not. And just know that there are literally thousands of other fish in the sea at CES. Okay, do your best. If it doesn't go well, oh well, shake it off and move on to the next one. Okay, that's the that's the first thing I want to say. But go ahead, Jenny. What else did you want to add?
All right. So just earlier on, we talked about the action loop. There's the output and there's the input. And for you to really capture the fullness of that input is to exercise active listening. A lot of us, when we go to CES or when we're presenting or we're pitching, we're so eager to tell people what our product's about because we want to just cram in as much information as possible. But at the same time, if we're not listening to the questions that they're asking or the feedback, then we're missing a lot of opportunity to really show off what we are about. So, first thing to do, slow your pace. Don't rush to respond. Don't interrupt, even though you know what they're going to say, even though you can't finish that sentence for them, let them finish it. It is courtesy, it's courteous, it's polite, it's respectful. And it gives you time to think about how you want to respond. Secondly, reflect words. What that means is think about what they're saying and see if you could paraphrase it. So what you mean is blah blah blah. The reason why we often tell our clients to paraphrase what other people say to them is one, you're showing them that you are mindful of what they're saying to you and that you want to confirm because what they say to you is so important that you want to make sure you get it right. And three, it is for you to make sure that you got it right. Third thing is label the emotion. And the emotion, if someone is telling you that they have a big project, they have 200 people that need to manage, but the HR system is quite a mess. Label that emotion. Okay, so you're saying you're feeling confused about how to manage your people. Have them validate what you said. That way, you know exactly how to pivot or how to go to the next step. Fourth, ask questions. Again, so many founders are so excited to share with what they know that they forget to ask questions. When you're able to ask intelligent questions, when you're able to ask good, find out questions, then you could really know how to sell your product because you don't want to keep talking, but you don't want to go on a monologue when that's something that they don't need. And lastly is use silence. And it's kind of like the first point is give yourself maybe a few nanoseconds before you answer. Be methodical and be intentional and be thoughtful before we answer. In fact, when you're able to give a few seconds before you reply, you are showing that person that you're really, trying to understand what they're saying and that to you it's important to really churn it out in your head. All right. Okay, so listen to what's really being said. Um, we are polite people, and the chance of you meeting really, really rude people in CES is probably really low. But just because they're polite doesn't mean they're interested. And sometimes we get so excited of a quick promise or yes, I have to meet you, but yet maybe they don't really mean it. So how can you decipher what they're saying? I have five examples here, and there might be many more, and there are actually more that you could probably share with us at the end of the webinar. But one thing that I often hear is after you present, they said, I'm not sure about the timing. Well, what are they really saying? What they're really saying is, tell me why I should talk to you now. What is the urgency? Why is my company why does my company need your product right now? What's the time reason? Second could be, okay, thank you for sharing this with me, but we already have a vendor. This is when you're able to lean in and said, okay, this is why we're different. This is a great opportunity for you to articulate your unique value proposition. You understand that they have a vendor, but you come in and tell them your unique proposition. Um, Again, because of time, I won't go through all five, but happy to share this with you after the webinar. Now, relate back to the story that I shared in the beginning about the two different founders. The first founder, he really didn't do anything wrong per se. He was there waiting at his booth for people to talk to him. I mean, if he wasn't there, there'll be no one. So there's nothing wrong with standing there. However, CES is a huge event. For people going from Taiwan or Beijing or even, other parts of the United States, you have spent so much money and so much time preparing it for it. So why just stand by your booth? It's important for you to be proactive and go out and start the conversation with people. But I know that for some people, it's not the easiest. So we're here to share with you four quick tips that you can use to start conversation with anybody, whether it be CS or, in your life. One is to observe. One thing I like to say is build on common belief. Go read the room, find out, and then quickly point out or quickly make a mental note. What are some of the common things that you could say? For example, if someone is doing drones, you could say, "Oh, wow, I have been so interested in drone for a long time." Or, "Hey, my cousin is also in the drone business." Start the conversation by building common belief. Even, "Oh, you're from Norway. That's on my bucket list." Start a conversation from that. Secondly, to share perspective, you are going to be standing in line for the pizza or to get into different panels or waiting for the shuttle bus. Maybe after listening to a keynote speaker, turn to the person next to you and said, "Hey, what were some of the interesting things that you heard from the speaker? Do you agree with what she said? What's your key takeaway?" Share your perspective and ask questions. Be proactive about asking questions and find out. And lastly, be proactive about connecting. Back to the drone example. "Oh, wow, you're in the drone business. I know someone in Saudi Arabia who is also into drone. Maybe I could connect you." Or, "I know a client that's, looking to improve their drone capability. Let's exchange information and maybe we could have a chat afterwards." Be a connector and be proactive about it. Again, as we said in the beginning, communications is all about about making that connection so you can elicit the desired action from the people that you are interested in. All right, I'm going to skip this really quick. I want to really drill down on the proactiveness. CES is a moving stage. You could talk to people everywhere, not just at your booth. Conversation can happen anywhere in those 4 days. Waiting for the shuttle, and believe you me, you're going to be waiting for the shuttle for a long time. Coffee line, cafeteria, you go to the competitor's booth, even the elevator, go to the panel. But you should have the goal to start conversation everywhere you go at CES. All right. So my final thoughts about my five things that I want to share, and Michael will share his five things afterwards. It is before you go to CS, some of the things that you should do. And is do your homework. All of you are registered. That means you know who's going to be speaking, you know who's going to be exhibiting. Find out who you want to meet. Prepare three versions of your pitch. Again, you might be talking to someone at the bus stop. You might be talking to someone while waiting to grab that pizza or at your booth. Have three versions of your pitch: a 10-second one, 30-second, and 2-minute one. Identify the speaker and the panel so you know when to go and what key message that you want to hear. Set up meetings before you go. it's going to be quite chaotic. Everyone is trying to meet everybody. But if you're able to set up the meeting before you go, it will save a lot of time. And social media, go ahead and tell people that you'll be there so they can reach out to you. When you're there, I would love for you to evaluate your daily goal. When I went to CES, every day I brought a stack of my business card. I think it was 30 or 40. And my goal each day is to pass out all of my business card. And my goal was every time I pass out business card, I will have a conversation and get their business card back. So that was my daily goal. Set your own daily goal. Be proactive as you talk to people. Seize every single opportunity. Go visit other booths. And while you're there, again, share with people who aren't there what you're seeing. People who are at CES might also be looking at what you're learning and want to connect with you there. And then after you go back, follow up within 3 to 5 days. Don't let it go longer than that. If you have taken selfie with the people that you met, if you took a picture of their booth, if they took a picture of them as they were talking or presenting on the stage, share that with them. That would be a very easy conversation starter. Thirdly, is what you want to make sure to do is do an autopsy with your team. I know that sounds a little bit daunting, but it's basically to evaluate what worked and what didn't work and what could change. Review what are some of the things that your company can do differently, and then social about it. Great thing about social media is that this is how you're able to build up your own thought leadership. My partner from day two, Jerry, is on the call, and one thing he loves to say is that investors that bet on the jockey, not on the pony. So if you're able to present yourself as a thoughtful, methodical, compassion connector on social media, and smart and innovative, investors will want to talk to you because products can fail, companies can falter, but if you are a smart, innovative founder with true intention to change the world for the better, investors will be drawn to you. So that's my presentation, and I'd be happy to turn the time over to Michael.
Well, thank you very much for that, Jenny. That so much great material in there. And let time is flying, so let me dive right in with some of my own skills and strategies I want to share with you. Okay? That's as I said, I've been to the past two CESs and I'll return for a third time. This is my Beijing partner, Song Jing Lee, and we've conducted media relations together for I won't name the name of the company, but it is a leading Chinese laser tech company. Now, what I want to explain to you, some of the lessons that I've learned from CES, but especially big picture about global strategic communications. We're swimming in a sea of brands every day, but especially at CES, you'll be literally swimming in a sea of brands. That 4,000 plus exhibitors. Some of them, many of them will be legit and truthful. Some of them may be exaggerating, maybe a little dishonest in terms of what they're saying. Okay. Now, why strategic communications matters is we all need to be more skeptical in this day and age of what people are saying, because as we know, there's so much misinformation, disinformation, fake news, lying, exaggerating online, and you're going to face that as well, face to face at CES. Okay, so we all need to become more literate, media literate online, but face to face as well, because everyone, as I say here, in the middle here, everyone has a self-interest. Every company, organization, government agency, individual professional has a self-interest to say how wonderful they are. Very few of us would say, my product, my service, mediocre. Okay? No, we all have a self-interest to say how wonderful we are. So then we are testing that out. We all should feel pressure. If we want to be believed, we have some essential responsibility to first of all prove we are who we say we are, to prove that we're doing what we say we're doing, and to prove that we are as good and our product, our service is as good as we claim to be. Okay? Because as I've learned from my global communications across 4 continents, there are basically 2 types of audience in the world and at CES too. On the one hand, are the more sheep-like is a more sheep-like audience, inclined to believe what they read, what they see, what they hear. Okay? With all due respect, some of them may be our family and friends who follow a charismatic leader or speaker. Okay? But our target audience at CES and elsewhere is the second category, the critical thinker. And critical thinkers will demand that we prove that we mean what we say. They'll demand concrete, credible evidence to prove these things. Okay? I won't get into too many details about our target audience, but I've thought through my own definition here. Okay? Feel free to screenshot or rewatch it later if you like. But as I describe it, strategic storytelling isn't just any storytelling, but storytelling for a purpose, as our intent is to achieve a strategic objective, especially when we or our organization, our company, is under pressure to prove something persuasively, such as results or impact, if we're trying to persuade an investor, a partner, a potential donor, a journalist, or if we need to prove the value or uniqueness of our product. Okay? And the key component to overcome our audience's understandable skepticism is concrete, credible, even verifiable evidence, which we present transparently. If we're confident enough with our evidence, we should be very transparent with our evidence. Those who are not so confident about their results or their impact may not be as transparent, and then you can wonder why they're not. Okay? Just to move a bit more quickly through this, I have come up with a 4-step formula that I'd like to share with you. I know that these tiles are a bit wordy, but I'm also a teacher, trainer, and so I like to be very clear explaining exactly my concepts and strategies, okay? But the 4-step formula is basically 4 elements: who, what, why, how. Okay? For you to be a truly effective, even impactful communicator, we always should consider who exactly our target audience is to begin with. Okay? If you're sitting at the booth, if you're going to an event, you're going to meetings, if you're standing online for pizza or for a cold drink, a coffee, even to think through who exactly might you be speaking with, why, what would they be interested? Okay, why should they care? How could they perhaps benefit from your words, from your product, from your service? You need to be able to visualize your target audience as clearly as possible, because otherwise you're firing your words like bullets, but randomly versus seeing your target as clearly as possible. Sorry for the militaristic sounding analogy, but that's what we're doing with our words, okay? Words as weapons potentially. Then, once we can visualize our target audience as clearly as possible, thinking through what exactly do I want to say? Okay? Next step, or what my core message is, what my argument is, what my talking points will be. I encourage teams and individuals to think this through even now, several weeks before you land in Las Vegas, to think through, hey team, let's gather around a conference room table and think through, what do we want to say about our company, about our brand, our services, especially our new brand or our new product, our new service. Next comes the why. Why exactly do we want to say this? Why exactly make that argument? Why exactly that core message, that talking point? Okay, this is how we justify and defend everything that we say. And I know this is small text here, but if you were to look at the screen, I have a filter down here, which requires empathy, not just a, hey, here's what we want to say, but do your words resonate? Will they land? So then empathetically, you should imagine yourself in the shoes of your target audience. If they were to hear your words, would it hit the target? If you were in their shoes, would you find it persuasive or impactful, even memorable? Why or why not? Okay. And lastly, once you come up with your airtight argument for this is what we want to say, and here's why we want to say it, next, how exactly do we want to say it? With what facts, details, evidence, anecdotes as stories, examples, maybe photos, visuals, graphs, whatever it is. Here you want to make your lawyerly argument as if you're a lawyer in front of a judge and jury. In this case, it could be a potential consumer, investor, partner, journalist. Okay, here's what I want to say. Here's how we want to say it, supported by what concrete, credible evidence. Okay. By the way, one thing about I promised in our description to describe the core message. Okay, because you may say, yeah, I agree with the need for core messages, but how to come up with a core message? This is how I do it. Okay, I actually do it backward. Think through right now. What exactly do I want to say? Do I want my target audience to learn about my company, about my product? Okay, and why? Okay. But more importantly, what do you want them to remember about your company and about your brand? So I do it backward. One day later, after, maybe later that night in the hotel after they've met you, or the next day, or a week later once they return home, they look at your card. Oh, yeah, that's the woman from that company, right? That's the company that does XYZ. And the product is so interesting for reasons A, B, C. If we think through, what's the one thing that we hope that they will remember about us and why? If we agree that that's one thing we want them to remember, because as Jenny said, we need to keep things simple. People have short attention spans. So we hope they remember one thing. If they're going to remember one thing, what should that one thing be? Okay. And then if we want them to remember XYZ, let's bring that to the forefront of our messaging. That's what we want them to remember. That should be the core message, and then build from there. Core message supported by our credible, believable evidence, woven into storytelling that brings it to life, that brings light upon our actual core message. That's how I do it. Okay. Now, we don't really have time I have 6 different forms of strategic content. I have a methodology for how to tell impact stories. Here's what I wanted to share with you. Lastly, your elevator pitch, okay? So I apply my 4-step method, okay? Before an event, before CES, as a team or individually, crafting your 4 steps strategy. To whom would you want to introduce yourself? Why them? What might they want to learn about you and why? Potential consumers, investors, partners, media. What exactly would you want to say? Which core messages? Why exactly would you want to say that? Why exactly those core messages? And then how exactly do you want to say it? Now, here's how I apply it. I came up with these 8 sentences, okay? Back in the day, when I was a young journalist, I did some radio reporting and I had to do 45-second reports, 1-minute reports. And thought to myself, what can you say in 45 seconds or 1 minute? And I counted. 45 seconds is 5 sentences. 1 minute is 7 sentences. So imagine if you have 1 minute in which to pitch yourself. Here are the 7, 8 sentences, okay? First, and this is just to get the ball rolling, okay? First sentence, briefly introduce who you are, what you do. Hi, my name is. I'm the XYZ. Second, briefly introduce your company, what you do. But even more than that, how you are unique, how you stand out. Why should the audience care? Or more, what you contribute to the industry, what you solve for society, why you and your company even must exist. That's a third sentence. Fourth sentence, new product or an ongoing product, okay? Your existing product. Briefly introduce your new or key product, what it does. Fifth sentence, how that product is unique, how it stands out, why your audience should care. In fact, the big picture, the broader context, I'll give you an example one sec. The broader context about why your product matters. And again, why they should care. Sixth, evidence to support your claims about your products. Okay? Like I said here, to prove your words. Seventh sentence, you can say, and here's what we're looking for here at CES, your objectives, okay? Why you seek that, okay? Oops, sorry, my logo dripped into it. And eighth sentence is optional. If your audience, and you should really pay attention to even how your pitch resonates. Does someone look bored? Are their eyes glazing over? Are they confused? Okay, then you may need to modify your pitch so that they can follow or they can feel energized or find it interesting. Okay, but if they do find your story, your company, your product interesting, they may say, "Wow, how did you come up with this idea? What's the story? What's the origin behind it?" Then you can say, if they want more, you can share your inspirational origin story. So there we were 7 years ago, my partner and we saw challenge XYZ, and we realized we've got a solution. Here's how we can do it. That could be your origin story. And now it depends on your audience, how much they want to consume. Now you're off on an interesting conversation, ideally leading to that second conversation. Let me just give one example to illustrate this, okay? And again, I won't reveal the name of the Chinese laser tech company, but in introducing them, first of all, to journalists to attract journalistic attention. We explained what makes this company unique. They are the largest providers of projectors to Chinese cinemas. On the one hand, they're also a leading provider of in-car cinema technology, projector technology, especially for EVs, right? Last year, they had a new product where they were beaming projectors from headlights and within on the windows, all over multiple projectors within cars. Why should the audience care? Because at a time when people are looking to cars, their own cars, as an entertainment center, okay, when they travel, when they have noisy, annoying kids in the back seat, more and more companies are willing to accommodate that to turn cars into cinemas. That's why it's interesting. That's why it matters. This is why this company's technology was interesting, why they should pay attention. And here's how we hooked journalistic attention was this is part of a broader trend of turning cars into entertainment centers, even cinemas. Okay? So I'm happy to. I know we're up against it, but I would love to hear any questions that you might have. If you have any questions for either of us, if you want to describe your own challenges that you're facing, please go ahead. What do you think, Jenny? Oh, I think you're muted.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for that. Before we turn the time over to the audience, I just want to quickly go over, not quickly, but to illustrate the six ingredients of a story. I think I've that's something that I skipped over because I was watching the time. Um, we talked about that when you're pitching, you need to have the hero, which is the person that you want to help, the problem that they're facing, you as the guide, what solution that you're able to provide, the impact of the solution or the impact of inaction, and then a call to action. So for me, as a day two head creator, oftentimes when we go pitch or when we explain ourselves, this is what we say. We know founders often struggle to come up with a compelling narrative to attract attention. We are communications experts that help you to craft a compelling story so you could attract the right investor, founder, clients, as well as talents. Without a compelling story, you will not be able to outshine others and you might be ignored. So if you're interested in scaling up, if you're interested to expand out to Asia, give us a call. So that is our way of telling a story and to attract the right people to come talk to us. Michael and I, we might have different approach, but the key is just do it. Talk to other people, listen and ask questions. When you're able to hear when you're able to hear their own issues and the challenges that they face, you as a service provider will be able to pivot your description so that you are able to hit the nail on the dot. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to the audience. If anybody would like to share or any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Hello, hi Jenny.
Hi, Ivy.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much again for this thoughtful and I
Ivy,
have a
you're breaking up a little bit.
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can't hear you so well. We'd love to hear you clearly.
So my question is about media. I heard from a company
Oof.
for hello, can you hear me now?
Ivy, we're not able. Do you want to type your question in the chat and we'll be able to
Yeah,
answer there?
please,
Sure,
please.
sure, sure. Sorry. There's some might be something wrong with my earphone. Is it
Oh,
That's
better
now,
now?
that's good.
now better.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, I was just saying that thank you so much for that thoughtful and thorough talk. I have a question about media day attendance because I think I heard from journalists that a lot of them are going to media day. Apparently, so there are 3 events scheduled for media day. So I just wonder, do you have any tips or any do's and don'ts regarding what to do and what not to do during media day? Because I think it's also a very crowded event. So yeah, so specifically
Well,
Okay.
may I ask Ivy just to clarify? When you say media day, would you go to media day to attract journalists' attention, hoping that they would interview you and to attract some publicity?
yes, yes.
Well, if that's the case, look, there are basically 2 options, okay? That I can speak from our experience is that we approached media, we targeted media several weeks in advance of the events, okay? Because many journalists will be there with assignments, with a mission in mind. And you may have a great product, a great service, but they may think, sorry, I'm already pursuing. I'm here limited time. I'm chasing my own stories right now. So there's that, the idea of let's talk if you'd like to talk about which media and why and how you'd want to pitch them to grab their attention, saying, hey, let's meet on the day of the next morning, that sort of thing. Okay, to be organized in advance. Second, if you're going to wing it, okay, and go to media day, first of all, I don't know if you'd even be allowed in unless you had the special, I don't know if it's green, a green media badge, or you wait outside the media event, hope for journalists to come out, and then you're quickly reading their badge. Which media are they from? Is it a good one? Is it a relevant one for me, right? For my industry, for my product? But if you can match up with the right one, then I would pitch and I would explain to them why their audience should care, why their audience would find it interesting enough that that journalist should allocate space in their magazine, newspaper, online, what have you. They have to persuade their editors back home and say, hey, boss, I need 200 words or 1,000 words to write about this new trend or this company, this brand, this product. Okay. So you have to be very persuasive as to why exactly their readers should find your brand, your product, your service so interesting that they'd want to read about it. What do you
Okay.
think,
Uh,
Jenny? Anything you
No, I
want to add
fully
to that?
agree with Michael as just exactly what I would say. I would say do your homework before media day. Know which media that you want to target and study, especially if you know who is going, study what articles that he or she has written in the past so you know what they're interested in. Once you know that, you're able to shape your pitch more precisely to him. And secondly, these media that go, they're going to be so overwhelmed. So uh, if you have a short description or there is something that they could take away, that would be really, really good. And these media, they're experienced, they are tech reporters. You don't have to dumb it down so much, but at the same time, don't make it overwhelming. Have You have to already think about what headline that you want them to write. And so in your pitch, have a headline, have your one-liner ready. Again, make it easy for them to just take what you say and put it on their computer. So think
Can I
about
say, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
just think about what headline you want them to write and hit those headline and provide that for them.
And one more thing, Ivy, just as a little experiment the other day, for a long time, I held off with using ChatGPT. I'm a bit of a dinosaur. Then I recently discovered the wonders of ChatGPT. If you were today to plug into ChatGPT saying, who are the leading journalists and media publications writing about, and then you plug in your product, your service, okay? It will spit out. I just did it for AR glasses, augmented reality glasses, who are the leading publications and journalists writing regularly about AR glasses. And it was remarkable. It spit out which magazines, even which journalists, so that you can then go to those websites, look for ideally that journalist's email address, or look them up on LinkedIn, send them a connection, send them a quick pitch. Hi, my name is. I just saw that you've written extensively about AR glasses. Okay. And I've got a great story for you that your readers would want to read about. Okay. And then you hit them with the pitch.
And one more thing I would add is, Ivy, no matter what product you're trying to pitch, whoever you want to reach out to, you must have the right data. Again, going back to the credibility, you want to make it easy for them to believe you. So make sure you have the correct data and the correct interpretation of data. It'd be even better if you have a third-party testimonial on why your product makes sense and solve the problem that you claim to solve. So it's all about credibility. And just like Michael said, the reporters, they have one person that they need to please, and the one person they need to please is the editor, and the editor have one person they need to please, and that's the reader.
Mm.
So know know who are the target audience of that specific publication. Is it a trade magazine? Is it a consumer brand? Is it a fashion? Are they talking to millennials? Are they talking to moms? Are they talking to CIOs? That way you know how to pivot your pitch so that it makes it easy for the reporter to pitch the story to the editor.
Look, Jenny and I could have a part two to this webinar, which is specifically about media relations and media training, but how to approach media, how to pitch and persuade journalists. Okay. I mean, we're only scratching the surface as to how to come up with a persuasive pitch. But first of all, to study your target. Yes, it requires some time and effort to invest who's writing about it, even to look at articles. Hey, I saw that you wrote about these things. I've got something to move your coverage forward, to enhance your coverage. Okay, that sort of thing. Absolutely. It's a time-consuming process, but it's
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, please?
Yeah.
We're on a roll.
Hi, Rebecca.
Although we've run over, I know.
All right.
So, somebody said hi to me, I think.
I did. Hi, thank you for tuning in.
Oh, sure. I'm picking up all kinds of tips.
Oh, please share. Please share away.
Wow.
Oh, no, you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I mean, just like Michael said, I mean, this could be a multi-part webinar. Today we went through we just went over the basics. Just a couple of key takeaways. Just again, remember that communication, you want to make it clear, concise, and short. Make it easy for people to digest, absorb, so they could be your ambassador. And if I may just be a little bit maternal at the end of the webinar, is for those who are going. CES could be quite physically exhausting. So make sure that you stay hydrated throughout, have a snack with you, but do not ever eat at your booth. It turns people off. If you need to eat, if you need to take a break, go somewhere else. When you're at your booth, you should always be professional and ready to answer those questions, ready to pitch. Also, just be a little bit mindful that there are people who are coming to see us, they're exhausted too. So exercise patience and compassion and kindness. they might also be experiencing jet lag, as many of the people who are coming from Taiwan to see us will also experience it too. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Mm,
I
I'd
see
like to
that
add one
Jerry has
thing.
a bit of,
What's that? What's that?
Jerry, I saw you smile a little bit. Do you have any?
Well, I'm going to say that there are going to be investors are going to be impressed that the startups aren't even taking a break and will rely on just having to grab a bite at their booth because they're busy hustling, trying to work their business. So I understand your position on that, but I also know that investors want to see startup founders 24/7 working their business. So that is some on the investment side of things, sometimes that's an exception.
Without
Okay.
tomato
If you're
sauce
an
on your
investor,
shirt, ideally. You
yeah,
know,
if you're an investor, take that break you need. But if you're a founder, if you're, especially if you're a team going, someone should always be ready to answer the question and appear 100% professional.
I think it depends on how big a team they have there. If
Yeah.
they have a really skeleton crew there where they don't have the opportunity to really give each other breaks, if they have enough people in the booth, yeah, you don't want a couple people standing around eating while the other, yeah. So it just depends. I'm saying there are a few exceptions to the rule.
may I say
Yeah,
one
I think it looks
oh,
sloppy I think it looks sloppy if you're eating at your booth. It just doesn't project a professional image. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. But I understand the need to eat. So make sure you do take that break and make sure that you do eat. It
and stay
gets
well hydrated.
yes, and
You know,
yeah, and it's a big event. There are lots of little events to go to, and make sure you seize those moments as well. Lisa Su is going to be the keynote speaker. I can't wait to hear what she has to say. I'm really really looking forward to a lot of the sessions there. Okay.
let me just may I just share one last tip, okay?
Yes.
Because earlier today I was coaching a Chinese CEO with 2,000 employees, a video game founder, very successful guy, and he was asking what makes for a great and effective presentation. And among the things we were talking about, I said also passion and energy. And you may say, hey, I'm introverted or culturally, I don't throw my hands around and I'm not high energy. And I said, you know what? I think what we all should do is to remind ourselves before we need to pitch. I've got a cool product, I've got a meaningful product, an important product. What I'm doing matters. To remind ourselves. And then, okay, I want to share that with my audience, if it's one-on-one or with a larger audience. So then it's like, hey, I've got something to say. It's cool, it's important, it's meaningful. So even to psych yourself up, because that sort of passion and energy not only keeps your audience engaged, but can even inspire your target audience as well, that they feel that vibration of excitement, of energy, that sort of thing. Okay. So just one tip before you have to pitch, instead of being too exhausted, low energy, bored, that sort of thing, which can really turn someone off.
Yes. Thank you so much again for participating in this webinar. Michael and I were standing by oh, sorry, Peter has a question.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Peter has to go. Thank you, Peter. But again, thank you, everybody. Michael and I are available for any one-on-one conversation if you need, and we'd be happy to, take a moment to kind of review your deck if you want us to, and happy to share what we have, what we know to make sure that you have that compelling narrative to attract the right investor, the right client, and the right talent in your corner. Thank you very much, everybody, and happy to see you soon, hopefully at CES, if not in Taiwan.
thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.